Guys, welcome back to Big Laws Official. Today I'm taking a look at the official Strongman Games. They have just announced the events and the weights for this year's competition. Now, the first thing we're going to talk about with the official Strongman Games is that this is anyone's route to World's Strongest Man. Anyone in the world can enter. Go and enter on their website. You just sign up and then you have to video yourself doing their qualifier lifts, and if you end up in the top percentage of lifters, you get invited to the show, which is taking place 11th to the 14th of November 2021 in Florida. So the official Strongman Games is basically the World Championships of Strongman. The heavyweight men, this is their opportunity to get an invite. I believe it's the top three get an invite to a Giants Live show. And as most of you will know by now, if you come top three in a Giants Live, you get invited to the World's Strongest Man. For the rest of the categories, I believe we have under 80 kilo men, under 90 kilo men, under 105 kilo men, and then the heavyweights, they also have two masters classes this year. They have the masters over 40 years old and they're having a masters over 50. I think this is the first year we've ever had an over 50s competition. We're just getting athletes that are getting older and still being so good. They're opening up another class. And obviously we have the women as well, the heavyweight women, then we have the under 82.5 kilos, the under 64 kilo women, and the masters women over 40. They only have one masters female class at the moment, but this is the chance to become a world champion in your sport. And anyone around the world, as long as you have internet connection and somewhere that you can do these lifts, can qualify to compete in this show. Now, I've seen quite a little bit of a stir about the events for this year's official Strongman Games on the internet already, with a number of people saying it's too heavy this year. Now, let's go and jump into the events and see why people are saying that. So the first event of this year's games is the log lift for repetitions. And, you know, looking through the different weight classes, there are some hefty weights in this. I mean, the first thing that stands out is that the men have a 365 pound log, or 165 kilo log, which is 15 kilos heavier than they used at World's Strongest Man this in 2020. Normally at Worlds it's around 160. So the official Strongman Games log is actually heavier than the one they'll be using at World's Strongest Man. That being said, it is a World Championships at the end of the day, and I think now, if you're a super heavyweight male and you can't do a 165 kilo log, you're not going to be competing at that international level unless you're world class, perhaps in a number of other events. You know, there is people out there that have one weakness, if you like, but generally you need to be hitting that kind of number for reps. It is heavy. If I take myself as a good example, I've done 160 for 6 repetitions in competition. So if you guys are out there and believe they can beat that, you're going to score good points on the log for reps. You can see all the weights on the list there. I mean, some of the women's classes, the under 82 kilo women having to hit 93 kilos. That's a heavy log. But like we said, it's a World Championships. It's open to absolutely anyone in the world. And I think the one thing that's quite unique about this contest is that because you do open it up to everyone that can train, you often get some really great Olympic style lifters and deadlifters that enter the qualifier that are really good overhead, really good at deadlifting, and then sometimes struggle a bit more with the actual events. So we'll take a look at the other events that are up this year. So event number 2, one of my absolute favorites, is the car walk. And the men, they have the standard weight of the car that you see in Giants Live. And just quickly going through the groups again, some huge weights. I mean, the women's open are looking at just shy of 320 kilos, 700 pounds. That's a heavy weight. It's certainly not going to be an easy competition. I think they will most likely, they're trying to attract the absolute best in the world. Sure, they want lots of entries, but when it comes to that final World Championships, they want the best athletes in the world. So event number 3, they have the deadlift ladder. So a deadlift ladder is just a standard bar, standard weights. It's a deadlift, but there is 4 bars that get progressively heavier. So they start on the first bar for the men, that's 306 kilos. They lift it, lock out, get the down signal, put the weight down and move straight onto the next bar. Very similar to like you'd see in a CrossFit Games type competition. It's quite cool the way they have it set out. They literally have, I think it's 4 guys or girls going head to head against each other, and each barbell gets progressively heavier. Just quickly looking through some of the, we'll go through the heavyweight men. They've got 306 kilos, which is 675 pounds, all the way up to 300 and just shy of 370 kilos there, 815 pounds. The open women starting on 183, 405 pounds, and going all the way up to 247.2 kilos, 545 pounds. I won't go through every single class. We've got it up on the screen for you guys to see, but just looking through there, again, heavyweights, the Masters women, you know, the Masters women finishing off there with 205 kilos. Just one rep with 205 is impressive, but to be doing it at the end of a ladder, extremely impressive. The under 64 kilo women are always extremely impressive as well. You got Rhiannon Lovelace in that category, who's just a freak of nature when it comes to deadlifting, but there's so many great young women out there that are just getting better and better, and every single year these performances just increase. So I don't think the weights are going to be a problem for anyone. The athletes get stronger every year. They're wanting to prove that they're the best. It's going to be good. Event number 4, combining strength and conditioning this time, is the carry and drag. Obviously different weights for each category, but it looks like it's a 50-meter course. Fastest time wins. You have to carry the Husafeld, put it onto the sled, and then the guys will drag it back. And by this time in the competition, their legs will be burning, they'll be fatigued. They've already done the deadlift, which is going to take it out of their hamstrings, and you start getting a lot of athletes collapsing at this point. And like I said earlier with the deadlift, because they go head to head at the official Strongman Games, where it's that actual race against other people, it's always exciting. You're going to get some interesting performances on this event. Event number 5 is the Sandbag toss. This is an awesome event. I believe it's been sponsored by Cerberus Strength for the last few years. Their Cerberus sandbags look absolutely awesome. So men and women, it's the same event, but the height of the bar is slightly lower for the women. So this event is an interesting one. And obviously for all weight categories, the weights are increasing. So it's 6 sandbags. You start with the lightest. All of the guys and ladies will throw that over no problem. And then the weights progress. We've already said they're going to be fatigued by this point. It's a great explosive event, always good to watch, and it's one of those events that even when you're really good at it, you can still make a mistake and it can throw a spanner in the works. So finally, they are finishing with the Atlas Stones. The Atlas Stones are a traditional event in Strongman. We've seen for years. The first time we ever saw them, they were traditionally the McGlashan Stones, and the heaviest one was 308 pounds, which is 140 kilos. And just looking through the weights, the heavyweight women have basically 2 stones heavier than that. The heaviest one the women will be doing is 325 pounds, 147 kilos. The under 82 kilo girls, they're finishing on a 300 pound stone. The men are starting with basically the heaviest stone that they used that first time the stones were put into the World's Strongest Man. And the really interesting thing I've noticed with these events, with the Masters over 50 class, are going to be doing the same weights as the under 80 kilo men. Now bear in mind, and I don't think they would. I think the 2 guys I'm thinking of, Nick Best and Mark Felix, who have both done the Masters before in this competition, they are both eligible to do the over 50s. Now, I personally think they will both compete in the over 40s because it's more of a challenge for them. I mean, Mark Felix is still an incredible stone lifter. Nick Best is still a great stone lifter. They're 2 guys that have just been competing at World's Strongest Man. So I'd be surprised if they did the over 50s, but they're eligible to. And if they did, fair play. But those guys, I believe, are capable of so much more. So I'd probably expect them to be in the over 40s, challenging the likes of Terry Hollands, possibly Jerry Pritchett now is over 40. There's Zadruna Saviscus. There's so many great strongmen that are over 40, and every year it's just going to get stronger and stronger. The Masters a couple of years ago wasn't such a challenging contest. Now the Masters can be just as good as the Open. So it's going to be fun. Real opportunity for anyone out there. Obviously, they've extended the qualifying for this. I believe it's around June, July time where the qualifiers have to be entered. Go and check out the official Strongman page. We'll put a link below for anyone that has the opportunity to train right now and wants to prove that they're good enough to get to World's Strongest Man. Like I said at the start, this is your opportunity. If you feel you're an athlete that gets overlooked and you don't get the opportunities that you want, this is a chance to kind of put all that under the rug and go and prove you are good enough to compete at World's Strongest Man. Good luck to everyone that does it. I cannot wait to get over there in November and watch. I've got a few athletes doing it myself, so I'm going to come over, make sure I'm supporting them, watch all the guys and the ladies. It's going to be a fantastic show. Let me know which of these events that you like the look of the most. And do you think the events are too heavy? Are people whinging too much? Do they need to just toughen up and kind of knuckle down and train hard? It's a World Championships at the end of the day. Let me know your thoughts. And as always, we'll be back with more strength action soon. While you're here, guys, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell so you don't miss any of my awesome strength content.